everybody, what's going on? Sifu Keit here with Tigers of Choy down here in Florida at Keit Kung Fu. Today I wanted to talk about an overlooked, very simple concept that we have in our Choy style. And in Tigers of Choy, all of us are under the same lineage under Grandmaster Lee Kun. So this is very prominent in our forms and all of our techniques. It's a concept called Ping Sun. In English, the best way to translate that is just side body. So meaning that every time you're facing your opponent, you want the side of your body facing the opponent. Two important concepts behind that. One, it makes your arm a lot longer. If I stand, for example, against this bag right here, you can see that if I'm squared up, very similar to how a boxer would stand, okay, it's going to be very difficult to reach. But by turning, it makes me a lot longer. You can see my hands going through the bag. And another thing is that when we have our feet in a very comfortable position for sparring, sometimes we square up, but when we strike, we hit Ping Sun. We want to make sure that we're turning Ping Sun. So one way to know is if your hips are facing the bag and your shoulder is facing the bag. Your joints are kind of like valves that allow energy and power to come right out. So very similar to boxing, the jab and then the cross. So instead of just going 45 in Choy, you'll Ping Sun. That way the Ping Sun can set up all of our swing punches, all of the Bakwa Sao, 8 directional hands, whether it be Pak Choy, Sao Choy, doesn't matter what technique. So every time you're striking, you're trying to get Ping Sun. So you want to avoid punching like this or allowing your students to punch like this. Okay, you want to turn your body completely all the way, And that is also prominent in all of our forms too. So that's why we practice Junma Da Bok, turning the waist. Junma Da Bok, turning the waist. Very important that anytime you're striking, your hip is there too. You don't want to have your hip back and your shoulder like this. As Kung Fu has evolved, these techniques have to be much more streamlined, much more perfect. That way you can minimize the energy expansion that you're giving, and you can retain the energy that you have, and you can throw your whole body, making sure that you physically, like a framework, have everything behind your punch, behind your blocks. So when you're doing your training, make sure Ping Sun, make sure Ping Sun, make sure Ping Sun, even here, make sure Ping Sun. You know, when you're doing a roundhouse kick, it's the same as Junma Da Bok, except in the air, Junma Da Bok, okay? And when you're doing your forms, you want to make sure that your punches are in line with your hip. So if you're doing a Yum Chop Choy, you want to make sure that you're turning your hip all the way. You know what I mean? If you're doing a twist dance and Kumjurng, you want to make sure that you're turned all the way, not like this. So very important to pay attention to the details, make it easy for your body to create a strong frame, to put a lot of power, help relax your body so you're not expending so much energy, and always looking for Ping Sun. This is Sifu Keit, Tigers of Choy, Keit Kung Fu in Florida. Keep on training.